Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, it's a wonderful day today. And first and foremost, thanks to everyone for being here in large numbers and listen to our global CEO Let's Talk session. Definitely, it's going to be a wonderful Let's Talk session. Before that, I also want to say big thanks to all of you for a wonderful year. 2018 has been a year of heavy lifting and challenges, but I think we are coming out in flying colors. We need to give a big hand for ourselves. And I also want to say thanks to Emma to keep India as a last place of visit before the end of 2018. And she can have a wonderful end of the year and a great Christmas and a great New Year, right? Thanks, Emma. So with that, I request Emma to address the gathering out here.
Thanks very much, Vidish. And thank you all so much for interrupting your busy day to come and hang out with us for a while. Absolutely wonderful to see so many of you here. And Vidish is completely right. I did save this visit to my last visit of the year. I have a board meeting next week, so still plenty of work to do to run to the end. But precisely because your results are good and because it is always so energizing to come and visit this country. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes about what's going on in GSK and some of my observations and expectations of our Indian business. But I want to say one thing first, which is I wanted to come here to India because I love the country and I always find the people so inspiring and energizing. But also because I wanted specifically this morning to have a chance to meet with Navneet, who is the leader of our consumer business, and some of his leadership team. Now, maybe everybody in this building says, well, we're not that interested in the consumer business, and we're pharma or we're vaccines, and they're another business, and we don't sell Horlicks, and we don't care. Maybe, I don't know. I want you to know that I do care deeply about that team and that business. And I came because we decided some time ago we wanted to make a strategic review of what the future, particularly of our nutrition business, should be. It became quite obvious as we were looking at the portfolio worldwide for GSK, and the strategic direction we want to go in, the priorities we wanted to set, that it would be probably better to reallocate our capital more strongly to our first priority, which is in the pharma pipeline and specialty medicines, and that's probably for a brighter future and an exciting future. Our nutrition business, which is mainly in India, could be in better hands. And we did that review and we talked to lots of people and loads of people because for nearly 100 years, pretty much, we've been running that. Probably many people here grew up on Horlicks. I don't know, but I know it's a big tradition in this country and a much loved brand. But a lot of other companies loved the idea of taking that on board, and we were absolutely delighted that a company as powerful and as respected and with the same kind of values as GSK, and a company where I know the leadership well and many of you probably know them, as Hindustan Lever is going to be the future home for that business. And in the meantime, we'll be partnering with us on some of the rest of our consumer portfolio. That is a bright and exciting future for them, but it's difficult in the meantime. It's difficult humanly. And I wanted to say how incredibly proud I am of that consumer business and those people who have had some of the best results of GSK in any business anywhere in the world this year. And they're not here. They're not in the room. They're not standing on the stairs, but I don't care. I want to say they are wonderful people And I needed to say thank you to them in person and to say thank you for the tremendous acceleration I know they're going to keep having through 19 with courage and accountability and ambition and pride, and they will go on to a very bright future. So I just would like you to join me in thanking them for that. And I want you to know that the decision we made about that business does not for 1 second mean we don't see India as exceptionally important for the future as well as the history of GSK. It is so important for our future, and that's also why I'm here, to keep us betting on our pharma and vaccines business for successful growth and as a great place to work, okay? So that's the first thing. Now, we've laid out, the point of this session is a let's talk session, which means you ask me lots of difficult questions, okay? So that's what we're going to do in a minute. But in the meantime, let me also join with Dish in saying how thrilled I am with the progress that we have made this year, frankly, globally as a corporation. But particularly, I'd like to call out to the Indian team. And, I love to think that when I come and visit a country, I just turn up and everyone's really relaxed and it's no stress and, we just come and have a chat. But I know that quite a lot of work goes into these visits. We've had a packed day so far, getting out into the field, seeing our operating businesses in pharma, in vaccines. What a wonderful set of results in vaccines. Big future, where is he? Big future for vaccines here too. We had a great field visit. A few of you were responsible for organising that. Chance to go into one of your local hospitals and actually talk to a pulmonologist and a paediatrician and a dermatologist about how GSK is showing up. Now, of course, they were well briefed, but they did say we were brilliant. And then a couple of great sessions with some of our first-line leaders and some of the wonderful talent here. And then I was delighted, too, to meet with our R&D leaders from Bangalore who'd come over, where we are betting big time on the incredible capability you have in this country on these fundamentals of medical, regulatory, and biostatistics, which are absolutely the heart of our new global R&D strategy in terms of building that out. So brilliant day, not finished yet because we're off to go and see the mock, and we also met with the global team around that support our classic and established products. So well organized, great job done, hugely motivating, mainly because we also looked at the numbers around the accelerated growth for the next 3 years, which is good, but could be still even better. But my goodness, guys, you've had 3 tough years. This has been a year of enormous change for the Indian business. But well done, because you are bringing more focus, as we've said we want to, in the P of performance of IPT. And you've really done that very well. You've reorganized, you've brought in fresh talent and promoted lots of people internally, and your results are showing the benefits of that. So IPT are our priorities for the company. It's been a year of real progress in innovation globally. We've done an incredible job behind our new vaccine against shingles in the US. We're doing well on our 2 drug therapies in HIV. Trelegy, which maybe will come, I know we're looking at it in India, has had a fantastic start in the US. And we've launched a new R&D strategy with our new Chief Scientific Officer based on the science of immunology and genetics, but also reinforced by the new technologies. And this country is a fantastic place where we see that, whether that be machine learning, but also the science of genomics and even gene therapy as well. So a very bright future in terms of our pipeline. And when we look at India, we are building growth successfully on a more focused portfolio of classic and established brands, but you're launching new things too, new vaccines and more new ones to come. Which I know you're impatient to get, and I'm impatient to see contributing to growth. But also great to see the plans for launching Nucala here, and we'll see further down the line. You may have noticed I spent quite a lot of money on a new oncology company last week, and further down the line we will see what role there may be for specialty medicines in India in an environment where we can balance the economic return with the access to innovation, which I think most of us would feel optimistic, even if not near term, should come further down the line for this mighty market, where there's still so much unmet medical need and so many exciting advances in science. In performance worldwide, we are going through a lot of change. You've lived it here. I'm so proud of our people for embracing that with energy and ambition, and you've been great examples of it, as I've said. But it's also about building new capability as a company and as individuals, and whether that be in marketing or medical or digital and new channels, I'm pleased to see the progress that we're making there. And then lastly, in trust, we have launched a new trust framework worldwide. This starts with not making mistakes on the fundamentals of quality and safety and compliance, by the way. And we all have to be vigilant about those things, because you break trust like that if you get it wrong. And we have to be proud of our beating orange heart that makes GSK the second highest in the reputation scores in this country. And we do not want to make mistakes that we pay a much bigger price for than just financial returns. So that's where trust starts. But trust also continues with supply. All right? I mean, this is one of the first meetings I've been into a country, and I know vaccines always want more supply, but where we haven't been talking about all the problems we have on supply. Fantastic to have that investment in. Yeah, you're right. We're all very quick to shout out to our supply teams when things go wrong. We don't thank them enough when it keeps coming. And we're all excited about eventually getting to the opening of our magnificent Vemgul factory, which I know we shall see at some point next year. But really good progress on supply. And then we continue to be committed to our responsible access to medicines, something that's so visibly and obviously necessary in this country as well. And I will finish by saying the part of trust in so many ways that I care about most, personally, is the trust between us and you, is the trust of human being to human being who get up, all of us, whatever our job, wherever we are in the world, whether we've worked here for 35 years or 3.5 weeks, we get up in the morning and say, I want to be part of the GSK adventure. I want to be myself. We say it, be you, feel good and keep growing. I want to be myself, openly and honestly, regardless of what size or shape or gender or religion I am. I want to feel good physically and mentally, and I want to be able to do my work and have my life, my relationship with my parents, my children, my partner, and my company. And I want to keep growing, because you get one life, and I want to be developed. I want to be part of a company that's developing and growing, and I want to be supported by a great boss. And I believe that being a modern employer at GSK and building trust for the long term between the company and all of these people that get up every day to try and help patients and have an impact by bringing the quality necessary medicines and vaccines that people need is absolutely fundamental to our success. And you don't get better in an employee engagement scores than the numbers that you guys have delivered this year. So I hope it's true. And I think you could probably improve by 3 or 4 points to actually get to 100, but we'll see it. We'll see it next time. But it's been wonderful to see you. Remember why this company exists. We are here to help people do more, feel better, and live longer. And I am just incredibly proud to be alongside a team like the people in this building, but also all of the Indian teams out in the field who are working every single day extremely hard to make that so. Thank you very much for your warm welcome.
I know that we have a lot of questions pouring in from different corners of the country. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to request Ransom to manage the entire show. Ransom?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Vedish. May I request you, Emma, to come? Oh, yeah, for questions, I think.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I think many of them have. So,
Any difficult ones Vadish is going to answer, so that's fine. Yeah.
excellent. Okay, so the way we've done this is we did post, the fact that we are having the town hall on workplace, and we've got questions on workplace, and we
Sure.
also had rankings in terms of the people wanting to ask a similar question. So we will get to that. But let's begin with an in-person question. Introduce yourself, what you do at GSK, how long you've been, and a short question. Yeah.
Hi, Emma. This
Hi.
is Nivedita from the medical team. And my question is basically regarding that, most of us face the Monday morning blues. So what motivates you on Monday mornings?
That I did loads of work on Sunday night. That was a bit of a silly answer, but true. So what motivates me, very simply, I think I am incredibly lucky to work for this company. And I think you get one life, and I like working in an organization that is trying to have a positive impact on society. You can choose all sorts of jobs. That's the first thing. I believe in what we do. The second thing is I feel incredibly responsible. I did not expect to be a chief executive. I'm delighted and privileged and proud to do it, but my main emotion is one of responsibility to you, the people that are part of the company, to the board, to shareholders sometimes, but mainly to you, and to our patients and consumers. So I want to know that after however long I have the privilege of doing this for, I've tried my very humanly best with the values that I care about underpinning it. It's like for all of us, you have some difficult days, but in the end, it's a privilege to do it, and it's incredibly interesting, and I get to visit places like Mumbai, so it's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, yeah.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you so much. So I have next set of questions that will be read out by Roshni. Roshni has set up and done all the arrangements, part of the team. Roshni?
So this is one of the questions we received on Workplace. It's most voted with 18 votes from Vidya Kuntur, our colleague in the field in the respiratory team. Congratulations on being recognized as Britain's most admired leader of 2018. What does it take to be the most admired leader?
I don't think. That's kind of people to say that. And the answer is I don't know, because that was something that was voted for by other leaders. So it was a peer thing, and some shareholders and analysts. So I don't really know what the answer to that question is. But I suppose if I can reset the question a bit and try and give you some maybe advice on how to find your own success and happiness, it would be start with doing a job you believe in and be clear about what your objectives are. So in my case, I had to say to the market and the board, what am I trying to achieve? And then hopefully do it step by step. So for everybody here, you have a part to play. Every single person here has a part to play in the delivery of the GSK India results, which have a part to play in the GSK global results. So be clear with your boss exactly what you are expected to achieve, and why it matters, where you contribute to innovation, performance and trust, and the performance of the company. And then try your best to do it in the right way. It's the what and the how. So I don't think too much about those things. My mother does.
Thank you.
But, that would be what I would say.
Thank you, Emma. We have a next in-person question. Introduce yourself, what you do, and then your question.
Hello, Emma. Good afternoon.
Fantastic run of women asking me questions. I'm very Very pleased to see that.
It's a pleasure. I'm Ketki George. I'm from the Global Classic and Established Products team. And I have a question for you. So how do you envision the Accelerate Pharma model, progressing in the next 3 years to deliver on our IPT priorities? And also other thing is, how do you see the global pharma industry as well as the external stakeholders view this model as a game changer for our performance?
They're massive questions. So in terms of the first one, how do I see Accelerate Pharma contributing to IPT? I mean, very fundamentally, the clue's in the name. Accelerate Pharma is about saying, we have these 3 businesses. 2 of them have been growing globally and profit, both from a top line and profit point of view, very well. The biggest one, the most highest return one, and the one that most of our stakeholders watch us for is pharma. And our pharma business over the last decade, actually globally, has shrunk a bit. Now, that doesn't mean there haven't been pockets of it that have grown incredibly well, but I believe that the reason we exist is to help patients, and the first way we do that is with a pipeline of differentiated, needed, quality medicines and vaccines and consumer products. So at the heart of our strategy is to reinvigorate our pipeline of new products to bring the next wave of growth for our pharma business and therefore for GSK. Accelerate Pharma was the name that Luke put around the global reorganization and restructuring of pharma to put resources, including in India, in the front line. So where people are doing the selling, but also make sure we're resourcing properly R&D, and to reduce and reorganize some of our, I suppose what you might call more head office, and I'm talking not necessarily in India, but globally or regionally functions, so we can properly back both the factories and the R&D centers and the sales forces and resource them well to keep growing more effectively. Another key part of Accelerate Pharma that you'll know very well from CEP is focusing the portfolio. And that means in a country having fewer SKUs, which means we have less working capital, we focus on fewer bets in a bigger way, and you get better growth. You've done that brilliantly here. That's also true globally. We will have reduced our SKUs globally by 25% whilst having one of our best growth years. So, there are real, and today we were looking at some fantastic statistics about massively improved productivity whilst reducing resources. Now that doesn't mean the goal is to reduce the number of people at things. It means take out layers, take out bureaucracy, improve agility, take out loss in time through bureaucracy and lack of clarity on decision making. So all of those things are about resourcing us for growth in the future. Now, where does the global stakeholders in pharma industry, where do they see us in that context? That's a massive question, and I would just say that this is an industry full of opportunity and responsibility and risk, and that's what makes it important and exciting but hard work. It's full of opportunity because fundamentally everybody on the planet cares about health. And we have an aging demographic and many countries, including this one, where healthcare is under-resourced. And science is advancing so fast, and there's so much unmet need. And technology now is coupling with our understanding of biology to mean that these two things can come together to see huge leaps forward in terms of the kind of medicines that we can develop for us as we age, but I mean, hopefully in time for our parents, but definitely in time for our children. And that's super exciting. But this is a reputationally challenged industry. And there are, in some ways, good reasons for that. People want access to medicines. I'm very proud that GSK has had 6 years in a row championing the access to medicines industry. We've always been indices. We've always been responsible about our pricing. But many people in many markets around the world can't afford the medicines that many governments can't afford the medicines that people need, and there are some people in the industry who've been less responsible. And it's also a market full of risk, because if you cross a line on quality or compliance, rightly, there are real challenges back. So I think stakeholders are watching, and I want GSK to be on the right side of that, which is why we have to innovate. That's the first way we build trust. That is our job. We have to perform, because if we don't perform, we don't have the fuel to reinvest in growth for the future and exist for another 100 years. But we only do that if we build a long-term contract of trust with all of our stakeholders, including starting with the people who make this company what it is, which is our employees. That was a very long answer, but your question was very long.
Thank you. Thank you, Emma. The next question was posted on Workplace. Roshni, if you could read out.
This is a question from Sonal Shirsagar. She's a first-line sales leader in the Derma team. She speaks about the recent acquisition of the oncology company Tessero, which is big news. Are there any late-stage pipeline oncology products in the company that will be available soon?
Well, so yes, and they're available today. If the real question is that will be available soon in India, I think we have to see. And I say that because I don't want to make promises I can't keep, and I don't know. I mean, first of all, we haven't actually bought this company yet, just to remember. It has to close the deal, it has to go through its regulatory approvals, and that'll be hopefully in the new year. I'm incredibly excited about this decision. I'm not quite as excited as Hal and Luke are, because they both know more about particularly this class. They know more about oncology, and they know this class because they've both competed in it very heavily in their previous careers and together. And one of the reasons Tessero is a great company is because it already has an existing marketed, proven oncology drug for ovarian cancer in the market. And we are betting that that medicine has the opportunity to reach far more women by going first line and beyond something called BRCA, which is a genetic validation. So we think there's a bigger opportunity for that drug, but we also think that drug could be available beyond ovarian cancer in other cancers, maybe breast cancer, maybe even lung. So a much broader audience. And then there's an early stage pipeline of a whole bunch of other immuno-oncology assets, which could be very exciting in combination with that first medicine, but also in combination with GSK's portfolio. So we see plenty of pipeline opportunity, but that is several years in the development. I do believe and hope that we can bring more innovation to India, but we need to be thoughtful about how the healthcare and economic and pricing environment evolves here, so that we can bring accessibly priced drugs, but also with an appropriate economic return. But for personally, I'm going to be optimistic about that. I think we should be.
Thank you. Next question is in-person question. It's from...
We're not allowing any men to ask any questions.
Okay, I'll ask the next question.
I'm joking. I think it's fabulous. It's good.
Hi, Emma.
Hi.
I'm Neha. I represent the marketing team of dermatology in India.
Yeah.
So my question is, while we are taking a digital leap in healthcare and pharma as a sector,
Yeah.
there are also digital giants like Apple and Microsoft which are coming into healthcare.
Big time.
So how do you think that would change the entire landscape of healthcare as a industry, and what kind of capabilities do we foresee in terms of building to fight the giants like them?
Wow, you guys do not ask small questions, do you? So I believe absolutely that technology combined with biology is going to transform the healthcare and pharmaceutical industry. And I say healthcare because it will transform the way all of us are treated, the way hospitals work, the way we get more predictive and preventive, the way we, through our reading of our own genetics over time, end up tailor-making medicines. Human lifespan has been transformed first by clean water, then by vaccination, and I think there's still probably some more to go, at least for our children. There isn't a single technology company, not one of the big ones. Even Facebook were playing with it, although they've stepped back from it a bit. But if you look at Google, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, everybody has some kind of healthcare space because there isn't a person on the planet who doesn't care about it. There are some massive problems to solve, and it's economically challenging. So everyone sees the opportunity. And ultimately, our industry, at its core, not at its distribution, but at its core of discovery and development of medicine, is a data-driven, which is why I'm so excited to have all our biostatisticians here in India. Data is the currency. And remember, when you discover and develop a drug, it takes about 10 years. It's a 95% failure rate. It's several billions. And data and predictive data analytics should, in theory, be able to address the probability of success and therefore the timeline. And you can transform the productivity of that R&D venture. Now, the question is, where do technology companies play in that? And where do pharma companies play in that? And who's going to have the data platforms? Where do we partner in an ecosystem? Where do we build our own capability? And those are all things we're thinking about very profoundly at the company. It's why I hired a new Chief Digital Data and Technology Officer in Karen Ann, which is a much bigger job. It's why I hired a Chief Scientific Officer who's based in Silicon Valley and whose best friend, in fact, he sits in a Google office. That's where he's located on a day-to-day basis. And that's why we do deals like we did with 23andMe, because that is a data-driven deal, which is about improving the probability of success by genetically validated targets in drug discovery. But we believe the role of digital data and analytics will work across the entire value chain of our company. Yes, in R&D, for the reasons I've said, to improve the probabilities of success of our pipeline, but just as importantly, in our commercial world. The success of our Indian business is absolutely dependent on the success of our thousands of sales reps who are out there. And digital data and technology is a support to them, not a replacement for them. It is a support for them every day, whether it's through our webinars or next best action in predictive AI around how to help people do their jobs better, around the technology we can bring to play in terms of going through the customer journey for an HCP who wants to be able to access stuff 24/7, whenever they want to, but still wants the connectivity and the expertise of the person they know best. And then, of course, we've started to use that, whether it's with Workplace or Concur in our expenses. We need to make our lives a lot less complicated with the technology we use just in our daily working lives. So there are lots of opportunities in the company, and we're working on them. But I do think a big part of my job is to make this company fit for the future, for whoever succeeds and me who succeeds them, in terms of getting the underpinnings of the role of technology in place. We'll have an easy question now.
Excellent. So all the guys, no pressure. So I think we should, who's the brave guy who's going to ask the next question? Anyone raise your hand? In the meantime, one fun fact, since we've been talking about technology, Google today has 3.5 billion searches that happen every day, and 4% of that 3.5 billion is related to healthcare. So that is the way in which our lives are today intertwined with technology, and no surprises therefore that, Okay, so here's a brave guy, okay? So give him a hand, guys, okay? So we also have guys in our team. Okay, introduce yourselves, what you do, and your question.
Hi, my name is Lubet Singhvi. I'm part of warehouse and distribution team in India. My name is Lubet Singhvi. I'm part of warehouse and distribution team in India. My question is around the agenda which you are driving in terms of make it easier, digital analytics for the company. So while we do that, there are a lot of initiatives which are initiated by the local markets. And predominantly those initiatives require a cost-benefit kind of an assessment, where most of these initiatives really become non-viable and doesn't get executed. So what predominantly companies like Unilever and all have done in the past is, 10 years back, they've set up their entire global centers in India, where they drive those initiatives for the global operations. Today, these organizations are moving toward a stage where they are setting up knowledge centers, a center of excellence on the process areas in India, be it Mondelez today. So they are setting these kind of operations in India, which reduces the cost of those engagements, and then the agenda drives even better and faster. So is it GSK looking at anything on those dimensions so that you move processes, technology, digital, all to India, so that the rate at which we want to pursue is faster?
Lubit, you were supposed to ask an easy question.
Yeah, that is like, to be honest, and it's a good question, but there are lots of questions in there. As I've already alluded to, there is no debate. There is extraordinary capability in India around data and analytics. I mean, and the services industry is exploding here when you think about how your economy is shifting. And we like to be part of that. We already are part of it to a degree. We already have some knowledge centres that we're continuing to resource and build. Again, as I say, we were just discussing in R&D how we're looking at our biostatistics, our regulatory centres and medical as well, and strengthening them. We're resourcing up in Bangalore. And I suspect we will end up doing more of it. Now, we have a new CFO coming in January, who is currently the CFO of HSBC Bank, which is a much bigger company than GSK. And obviously, when you work in the financial services industry, this is an absolutely huge topic, as well as cybersecurity and all the rest of it that goes with it. So I'm sure he will be looking at some of this question. That said, before anybody either panics or gets excited, both of which are not the right thing to do, remember, we did have a whole kind of back office structure, which frankly wasn't hugely successful for GSK before when we tried to consolidate everything into one previously. I mean, this is a decade ago, I suppose. So I don't think for a second we'll end up just saying, oh, we didn't mean to unwind that, we're going to go back to that again. That's a lot of churn for no real benefit. I think we will want to leverage some of the capability here more. Now, as a second point, though, you said, lots of activity on Make It Easier. I do actually think you have a job to do locally on Make It Easier. And what is stupid is when people say, it's really hard to work at GSK, can somebody in GSK House fix it? Because we're too far away from what your issues are locally. There are some things we can do. We can put in a new app for global expenses, which is easier. We are currently doing an end-to-end review, and I sat with a new head of procurement in London on buying goods and services, because we make it about as humanly hard as we possibly can sometimes, not least for our suppliers. And that needs to be sorted out as a global process. But there's a bunch of stuff, usually related to who is in charge of this decision, that is local. And you should fix that locally. And the part of the company that has seen the biggest change in how easy are our systems and processes is our consumer business, where they've seen 10-point moves in 6 months, because they've empowered local management and local employees to define, not generally that it's hard, but specifically what are the 2 or 3 big things we need to change, and they get on and they change it from the front line out, because nobody understands your problems like you do. So I would say, that was a multi-tiered question. Right. Can I have something really easy, like, what am I having for supper?
Okay, so next question from, I'm conscious we're running out of time. We have a hard close at 3 o'clock, so we'll take 2 more questions. Next question from Roshni.
For a simpler question,
Yeah.
this is a bit of a personal question from Purvi Vora in Ethics and Compliance. Please, can you tell us some of your fitness secrets?
Okay. And can you tell us the number of votes on that question, please? Yeah?
None.
7 votes
7 votes, okay. So
since we last counted.
You're not that interesting. First of all, I am remarkably untalented in all sports. So let's start by that. Fortunately, my children take after their dad. He was quite good, but I am literally rubbish at anything athletic. However, all of my life, as an adult, I have believed in a degree of exercise for mental as well as physical well-being. And that is really cycling, walking the dog. I've got a very annoying dog, but she's quite good for walking with my husband. So I like doing that. And then to be honest, which is a good thing to say in this country, the thing I most love, and I do practice quite a lot, is yoga.
okay, so we have time for one last question, after which get yourselves ready. We'll take a group photograph. Since we have a hard close, kindly make it quick. The last question, yep. Okay, so that's a guy. It's planted. It's planted, the question, it's a guy.
My name is Pramod. I'm from Warehousing Distribution. So my question is regarding the impact on brand Calpol after Crocin goes to Unilever for distribution.
I have absolutely no idea.
You can pass the difficult question to Vaidish.
Vidish, forgive me in the nicest way, I don't even understand the question. So Vidish.
Yeah, see, both are paracetamol doesn't make both are same. Calpol is a preferred brand by healthcare professionals, so that will continue to remain. Even now, both Crocin and Calpol occupy a different brand equity. Both of them have a different brand character. So I don't think we should worry much about Crocin going to levers. It's not going to affect Calpol. In fact, we may do much better because we won't be competing with brothers, right? So
There you go.
okay, I know that lots of questions that each of you want to ask, but right now we're running out of time. On behalf of all of you, I'm just going to promise to Emma.
That's good.
2019. So you said 2019 is not ambitious enough. So let me make that happen first.
Yeah. Okay.
So we will make sure that 2019 will be a great year, and we are fully 2019 ready. So I just want you to know that.
Well, thank you, Vidish, and I'm sure you'll all join me in thanking him. All right, so listen, guys. I wish you all, a wonderful, successful end of the year. Peace, happiness, healthiness to you and the people you love. Thank you, sincerely. Really thank you for everything you do every day to try and make GSK a successful company, but also help the people that need us, the patients and consumers that need us across India. So thank you and well done.